Okay. Um, I think I'm live. Not sure. Just gonna make sure everything is okay on this end. I think I'm live. Not sure. Ooh, that audio sounds good. Yes. Okay. So we're live from the M1 MacBook Air. Yeah, I'm after switching to the MacBook Air. More on that in a bit, but essentially, I wanted to do an editing live stream today. Live stream my edit process and see how that goes. But my drive said no because I currently have to upload everything to OneDrive for the moment to transfer it to the Mac because I currently don't have a dongle. That's why I'm not using that to stream. I'll probably get around to using that to stream, but I figured, hey, let's try the webcam out because it doesn't have center stage, but I think it's pretty cool either way. The fact that this sounds great. Yeah, studio quality microphones are something I'm really interested in seeing what people think about. Even if you're watching after the fact, definitely let me know because here's the thing. The MacBook Air, I'm going to give my brief impressions on the MacBook Air now because, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a full dedicated video to my brief impressions, but we'll see. My brief impressions so far in the brief time that I've used this, brief impressions in the brief time I've used it, it's great. Now I got the 7-core GPU model, so it's not the higher tier model, and it's worked great. Like the CPU cores are still 8 cores, so it's essentially the same thing as another CPU if you got that. And I think it's just a case of having a ton of stuff to work with in the line of just the microphones are great, the camera quality on the webcam, because this is using a webcam, it's great. The CPU processing speeds are great. I mean, I'm using what, like 8% CPU usage. Not feeling this thing heat up either. Normally, my laptop Dell Latitude that's off to the side here, that would normally kick up the fans like mad if I was doing anything like that. But I haven't had any issues with the fans, obviously, because there's no fans in this thing, which is something I have to get used to because I'm not used to not having any fans just ramping up. And I think it's another thing just to even say, hey, look, you technically do not need anything to get this Mac going. You do need an adapter if you want to use any of your old accessories, or if you want to use a monitor. I have my monitor currently sitting on the floor because I currently do not have a use for it after I got rid of the Mac Mini. Yes, saga, finally complete. You'll never have to hear about the Mac Mini ever again. Thank goodness. And I was getting sick of it. I think another thing you really have to keep in mind when looking into the MacBook Airs is how much storage you really need because I got a 256 gigabyte model, and while that's the base storage, I can really make it work. And so far, I've used 120 gigs of the internal storage because I do not have access to external drives at the moment because, dongles. Now, I have had the ability to order one on Amazon, and I'm going to show you the one I ordered on Amazon because it's actually a really nice one. And so it is. It has all your regular USB ports, it has HDMI, which is really helpful, and it has the audio jack. I'm not sure what else it has. I suppose I'll just be finding it here now. Yep. And if we go to tree, so we go to our third angle here. Let's make sure we're up here. Yeah. You should still be able to hear me. Okay. Yeah. So this is what I picked up for my dongle with the MacBook here. So it's a USB-C hub. It has HDMI, three USB-A ports, an SD card, and a micro SD card slot. So that'll come in clutch so that I don't need this adapter anymore. It's a USB 2.0 speed adapter. Absolutely rubbish. I would not recommend it unless you need something quick. Of course, it does Type C. It has a HDMI port, and yeah, I would like to have gotten a LAN port in it as well, but honestly, I don't think it'll be useful enough. If you really need Ethernet, you can always buy another adapter for it. It's not, it's not rocket science, the fact that you can get all that. I do like the idea of getting adapters. I don't like having just a bunch of useless ports on the laptop because there's a micro SD port on the laptop there, the other one, and I've never used it. Coming from a photographer and videographer, most photographers and videographers, they don't really have those kind of ports anyways. So you can't really get annoyed because if you're working with CFast cards or Red Mini Mags or whatever it is, you're probably not going to have those things anyways. It's going to be handy to know in the future whether we have whether we have something going for it because let's be real, it's probably not going to be major. Oh, I just noticed I can blur out my background, which is cool, I suppose. Huh. I see it messes up a little bit, but for a fake bokeh, not bad. It does pretty much just focus on your face, though. I didn't actually know that was a feature until now, which is pretty cool, And if I go back, yeah, follows me. I didn't know that was a thing. Now let's discuss something else. The keyboard. Oh my god. I was a big fan of the butterfly keyboards, and I was kind of bummed out when I didn't get the MacBook I was intending on getting. I spent a little bit extra than I was planning on spending, but here's the thing. The MacBook is brilliant for typing on. Like, I have not had any complaints whatsoever. In fact, I can get up to a really big speed, like a really fast speed on this keyboard. And it's not a difficult one to get up to speed on. If you're really comfortable doing quick burst typing or you're typing for a long period of time, yeah, it's a great idea to pick up this MacBook. Obviously, if you're really putting this in a desk setup, you probably might want to get some sort of cable or external keyboard that suits you. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent keyboard for a built-in keyboard. Plenty of spacing for your hands. And for a 13-inch laptop, it's actually brilliant. I think going forward, we'd have to consider putting more emphasis on the trackpads as well on laptops because laptops do have a significant trackpad problem. MacBooks are pretty much the gold standards for trackpads, and I'd like to see more laptops get it. Welcome to the chat, and welcome to the stream, the people who have just joined. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat there, and we can discuss that there. We are currently streaming off the M1 MacBook Air webcam and microphone, so you can be the judge of how it looks. I think it's a great webcam for what it is. Like, I'm streaming an OBS off to the side here. I can show you. Yeah, in Sidecar. So I don't even need an external monitor with this laptop, which is great. You don't realize how big a 13-inch screen is until you use it. Like, I thought I was going to have problems with editing or whatever it was, but not really. I can get up to speed in Final Cut. I can actually cut and paste very easily. I thought it was going to be hard to get used to a trackpad, and it's difficult to get used to a trackpad, but I'm still adjusting to it because there are some, drag and drop things that I don't necessarily like. So I'll get around that in the future. Maybe I'll just end up buying another Magic Mouse. which would not be pleasant. But yeah, so essentially, that is my thoughts on the MacBook Air. So I love the keyboard, love the trackpad, love the build. Pretty much the best laptop I've ever used. Huh, thought there was something there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been filming B-roll all day for my videos about this, and I've been working on my augmented reality video, which I'm also working on in accordance with this. Finally getting that done because I tried doing it in After Effects, wasn't having it. So Final Cut it is. It's handy to have this blurred background as a feature in macOS now because I'll be able to use this in a lot more circumstances because sometimes you're in a place where you don't want, show everything around you and you want a bit more professional look, but you don't want to haul around that big DSLR. That's a big reason I was hauling that around still. It's just because, it's helpful to have the blur background in some circumstances. Don't think I need it anymore, which will be really nice. Because when I go traveling now, I want to be able to pack the least amount of things. So if I can not pack that, that would be great. Uh, yeah, so I'm actually planning on doing a challenge, filming with my iPhone and editing on a Mac. Now, that is possible. A lot of people have done it. YouTube seems to be freaking out because it says three people are on the stream and then one person's in the stream constantly. So YouTube's freaking out there. Yeah, so it is really impressive to me that you can get so much power for such little price because let's be fair, MacBook Air probably doesn't cost as much as it probably should. Did you get anything for Black Friday? Let me know in the chat. Or have you been looking at anything for Cyber Monday? Also, let me know in the chat because that's another thing I want to get into during the stream. It's not very practical to get anything on Black Friday anymore. Unless you're really looking at something beforehand, it's not going to be very financially wise, some might say, to get something on Black Friday because if you're being honest here, like everything you buy on Black Friday, a lot of the time is an impulse purchase because you see, oh, huge discount on this. I'm going to get this. And yeah, it does work sometimes. But in a lot of circumstances, they bring down the price before Black Friday, or they bring up the price before Black Friday, or a couple of weeks beforehand, so they can cut the price and make you think it's a great deal, which is something I'm not a fan of. But it's an industry secret that, in all fairness, now it's not very great. So it's not. Yeah, I mean, if we go into Amazon, it's a pretty bare bones argument to say, yeah, okay, Black Friday, whoopee. Yeah, but like Black Friday, just not a lot going for it anymore. Which sucks, but that's how it is. Yeah, Apple's deals were rubbish as well, so there's also that. So we've been streaming for a few minutes now with the MacBook Air. I can definitely feel it starting to heat up. Yeah, up towards the top, I can start to feel it heating up. Of course, that's contributing to the fact that there's no fans. Although, here's the thing, when I had the Mac Mini, I couldn't do many live streams, as many as I wanted to. Because when you don't have a webcam built in, you don't have a microphone built in, you're relying on external equipment. And no microphones would ever work with the Mac Mini. So I could never use it for FaceTime calls, nothing like that. I always resorted to the iPad. So now I don't have to hold that thing around for live streams, which is great. So yeah, the Office OneDrive as well has been very, very helpful. Oh, for the love of tech is in the chat. How are you? I'm great. Uh, I'm great now. Um, just discussing Black Friday there, the fact that we don't really get many deals anymore. It's not like in the past where you could go out and see huge discounts everywhere. It's not really. that case anymore, unfortunately. At least not here in Ireland. In Ireland, it's more of a thing where you go and you go into a shop, you know what you're looking for, and you might find a deal. Uh, yeah. So the something else that is really interesting about the MacBook I'm noticing, when just in general use compared to Windows, is the operating systems. I always found myself trying to make Windows more like Mac OS whenever I was using it. So maybe that's saying something. So yeah, this is the sidecar feature is actually very handy. I've noticed for different things. Bit meta there, but yeah, you can see that sidecar does come in handy when you're trying to do things on a MacBook because ports don't exist on a MacBook Air. I know Aaron there for Lovetech did pick up a MacBook Pro, and from his videos, he seems to be enjoying it. And a lot of people have been enjoying the MacBook Pro from what I've seen. My co-host Stefano on the podcast, which I also have to edit, he also picked up a MacBook Pro 16-inch, pretty much maxed out. So stay tuned for the podcast episode where we discuss that because he has some thoughts on it and he'll be more likely to give a better explanation of what it's like to use it because I don't know what it's like to use it. I'm considering maybe trying to see if he can get on the channel maybe to host a video or to talk about because it would be nice to get a perspective of the Pro and the Air and see how it performs for content creation. Loving all the extra ports, extra excited every time I plug an SD card in. Yes, that is something I am really looking forward to getting with my adapter because even with my old laptop, I had to carry around this USB 2 adapter for plugging my SD cards in, and it's the most annoying thing ever. And when I tried out the MacBook Pro in an Apple store because I brought in an SD card to try out Final Cut, it was so nice just to be able to get the footage from my camera, plug it into the SD card, and just start editing. Why doesn't every single laptop have an SD card slot? Now I get a lot of professional cameras and a lot of professionals use CFast cards and mag readers and use CFast Type A or whatever it is. But everyone needs an SD card slot, even if it's for just for syncing music with your Android phone SD card. Oh, I know that's kind of not a thing anymore. Oops, guess I'm stuck in the past. But yeah, it is so unreal to have an SD card slot, to have ports. Like that's such a novel concept to me now because I've been using the MacBook without any ports in use for the last 24 hours, 40 hours since I got this thing. I haven't missed them except for the SD card slot because I filmed a ton of footage, but I can't get it off the camera. So that's fun. The whole MacBook Air, though, and the M1 transition in general, I've noticed the MacBooks have been a lot more stable than the desktops because for whatever reason, there's always been problems with the desktops, whereas there hasn't been problems with the laptops. So the Mac Mini had its Bluetooth issues, its display issues, Bluetooth connectivity issues, Wi-Fi issues, and just in general a ton of issues. And the iMacs were coming crooked out of the box. Now it's only a few people, but still, pretty annoying to have an iMac come crooked. Whereas the laptops I've noticed, nobody really has had any issues with them. The battery life is incredible, and I haven't charged this thing in 2 days, and it's perfectly fine. Apart from when you use an app that's not optimized and it's running in Rosetta, it can be very taxing on the battery. Since I started streaming at 100% battery 21 minutes ago, and we're down to 71% battery. So definitely have a charger near you if you're doing any sort of live streaming or live events or anything like that, because that will absolutely destroy the battery on your laptop. Final Cut has actually been working surprisingly well with battery. I I have had so much experience using a Windows laptop now in Premiere, destroying the battery, but Final Cut has been working really well. Glad to be back home, as some would say, because Premiere doesn't really work it crashes, it's unreliable, exports take forever. Because I loaded up my stress test I usually upload onto laptops and desktops. The 8-core M1 GPU did this test, a 10-minute iPhone HEVC video, my top-down shot for the iPad unboxing. It rendered out 4 streams of it in less than 5 minutes. The laptop there did it in an hour, and the 7-core GPU model of the MacBook M1 did it in 8 minutes. So it's a very, very, very heavily targeted towards professionals that really don't need a lot of power. So prosumers, you could call them. And that's who the MacBook really shines for. Because let's be real, Macs, they're a professional grade tool for creatives. Because I've talked to a bunch of people who aren't really Mac enthusiasts, they're all PC enthusiasts, and they relished in the fact that I had issues with the Mac Mini because PC and more all the way. But they have all really admitted that if you're creative or if you're doing creative work, you really do need to go with a Mac. Unless, of course, you're using PC specific hardware or Premiere Pro. But even at that, Premiere Pro is exporting really fast now in all the new tests that people are doing, especially the one Sarah Dietschy did in her video with Premiere and M1 Max. M1 Max just brutalized everything. So much for your €50,000 Mac Pro. So I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Thank you everyone who joined in, and I will hopefully be doing an editing stream tomorrow if the footage uploads to the drive. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.